All right, welcome to Sports Music and Other Ish. I'm your co-host Vic,
I'm your co-host, Big John, aka the Black Jerry Maguire.
and we have today our guest. Today is going to Mr. B. Hobbs. He is the program manager for South by Southwest Texas. What's up, Hobbs?
What's going on, y'all? Miss you guys.
Yeah, man. That seemed like the gang got back together, man. I've been asking
finally. For this. The big three.
Man, a lot of history right here, man. A lot of history.
Man, crazy.
Hey, Hobbs. So what's going on with you, man? How y'all family doing? How your family doing with the whole COVID-19?
Man, so far so good. Nothing to complain about. Luckily, me and Karina got everything that we need over here at the house, so don't really have to get out for too much of anything. Both our families are doing really good. Nobody in our immediate families has, got it. So, thank the Lord for that. But, just trying to stay as, safe and careful as possible. Would love to be able to be outside running around, but man, it ain't worth it right now.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy out here. So we're gonna jump into it about South by, man. South by got here. My question is was there one major event that happened that made y'all decide to cancel it? I know when the NBA had came out and canceled the NBA season, I think that's when everybody kind of took it serious. I think before that,
we didn't decide to cancel it. The city of Austin decided to cancel it. So literally, like, we were sitting there at work. You know how it is in an office building where, like, one person hears something and then it just sweeps across the whole floor. So it was like a tsunami. It was like, hey, they're pulling the plug. There's a press conference going on. And literally, they did the press conference and canceled it. And that's when, of course, there were some people that knew about it before, but we officially knew about it when the mayor of Austin got on TV and said, we're canceling South by Southwest. Like, they took all of the responsibility of that away from us and just said, they didn't want to be, I guess, that hotbed of COVID-19 and catch the blame for people from all over the world coming in. It's contagious as it is.
Yeah, I mean,
and they can track where it comes from too. So you don't want to be known as, that we're patient zero over here. We don't want to be that.
I mean, it seemed like the smart move because Travis County has been hot as far as COVID-19 too.
Yeah, it felt like for about 5 days, everybody was kind of like angry about it. And like, I can't believe that, South by Southwest is canceled. This is bullshit. And then it was like, the NBA canceled and baseball canceled and everything just snowballed from there. And then people started taking it seriously, and now it's like, well, everything's canceled. You would be the idiot now if you didn't cancel.
Yeah,
right.
That's for sure.
So you guys basically, y'all was just in the office, y'all was working on the thing, working on South by, and all of a sudden it just pulled the plug. Was there any like before that happened, was there any warning, anything like the possibility, like y'all was?
I mean, we saw the writing on the wall because our clients, especially the overseas clients, were like, we're not going to travel. And then, booking agencies started telling the agents, like, we're suspending all company travel. Record labels started suspending all company travel. And, the artists were the ones that were holding on to that hope. Us and the artists were like, we need this, let's do it. And then when once they pulled the plug, it was like, all right, that's the right decision to make.
So with you being in the seat that you're in at South by and dealing with a lot of artists and record labels, a lot of people seem like they're taking hits during this pandemic. Artists aren't be able to do shows. You know what I'm saying? CDs, are obsolete, so people ain't make money off CDs. What are you seeing in the industry right now as far as the music goes and artists?
Man, the main thing that I'm seeing right now is I feel like people are listening. People are using music as an escape even more now than they usually do. But people are listening to what they already know they like. And I don't see people going out and trying to discover new artists, and record labels aren't like, you know how this game is. These labels know who the star is going to be next year. They got them in the clip already. but they're not going to roll them out there right now. And they're not going to roll out their top level artists' new music right now because you can't tour to support it. So, streaming numbers are down. They're not down as bad as they looked at first, but streaming numbers are down across the board. But new music coming out is also down too. So people are listening to their favorite albums and stuff that they know makes them feel good. They're calling it comfort listening. So, people are comfort listening right now. And then people are listening to a lot of podcasts right now too over music because, information is key. And I know with me, I've been listening to a lot of podcasts because I'm trying to find new hustles and new interests and new hobbies. And I'm listening to podcasts about that type of stuff right now instead of trying to go out and listen to new music because that's what I normally do this time of the year. And, the new music's not coming out like it normally does.
Yeah. So let's just say hypothetically, like this whole COVID thing stretches out, a little longer than, let's say, next year. How do you think that's going to change the way people move in music? Because a lot of money is made on touring, guest appearances and stuff like that, and it looks like a lot of those things are going to be cut out. I know Dave Chappelle did a show not too long ago, and basically, he had people scanning, taking temperatures up there. They had like the distancing. They had like if you say if you and your wife bought tickets, y'all sit together, then there was distance between 6 feet worth of distance between you and the other people. So it looked like he was able to pull it off. Pretty much in the middle of the COVID situation. You think we look at more stuff like that, or you think we just gonna go full everything, maybe full digital? I mean, internet is that.
Man, I think certain types of music can pull that off, but like, could you picture a Travis Scott crowd, socially distancing at a gigantic concert? No, like the second the beat drops, these kids are gonna go nuts. So I think that can work with certain types of crowds. I think it works way better with comedy and stuff like that than it does with music. But, you got, old rock bands where, their fans come and they're all, 60, 70 years old anyway. So they ain't really doing nothing but sitting in a seat. So they don't want nobody sitting next to them. So it can work with certain types of music. But I think, to bring Travis up again, he did the concert in Fortnite, and I can't remember how many millions of people tuned in and watched that on Fortnite. I even did. I never played a split second of Fortnite in my life. That shit was awesome. So people are going to be able to start doing more creative stuff like that. I think that really, really hope that this doesn't last any longer than people think it's going to. But if it does, the labels and the artists, and especially companies like Golden Voice and Live Nation, they're going to have to figure out ways to get a new version of live music out there for people.
I seen Young Dro did a parking lot concert, and so they had a stage in the parking lot, and people pulled.
That was our boys. That was Travis Porter.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, they.
Travis Porter.
But Dro was on the show though.
Oh, okay, all right. I had seen one that Travis Porter did.
Yeah, I seen Young Dro. He was on stage, so it might have been at the Travis Porter
show on
stage.
Yeah.
Performing, and I mean, it was different. You know what I mean? Like was, people get out there.
I've seen a couple of drive-in concerts that they've done, and I mean, the drive-in concert concept could work, but I don't know. There's also you run into a lot of liabilities doing a drive-in concert.
Yeah. A lot of DWIs gonna come out that mug.
Oh yeah, a lot of that, and what if the dude in the car in front of you, pisses you off, instead of pushing him, what are you gonna go ram his car? Like, it could turn into a demolition derby out there. So the insurance policies on that are, it's gonna be a little crazy.
So is there anything you can tell us about the future of South by?
Right now, everything's still being planned for the future. So, I can't jump the gun on anything. There'll be announcements about it as soon as possible. But every major festival right now is doing whatever they can to plan for the future. So we're in the same boat.
So do me a favor, Hobbs, kind of go over how to get into South by. Because I know, we get a lot of calls around South by. People like, hey, man, let me jump on the show. Let me DJ on the show. And it's not like when we was throwing concerts, around San Marcos and Austin where we could just be like, hey, you can jump on the show. It's a lot different. It's a whole process. And I try to explain it to people, and I don't think they always quite get it. I think sometimes they want to put them on the show. So can you kind of go over that process?
Yeah, I mean, there's multiple different ways for it. So number one, there's the public applications that are open to everybody, and we listen and go through every single one of those. I do, well over 1,000 of them just myself every year, where I just sit down, I go through the music that the artist submits, I go through their social media pages. There's certain things that I look for, like specifically look for to make sure that if they are selected, they're going to be able to put on a good show. Or any fans, do they have any fans that are going to come out and see them? Even if it's 5 fans, like, just, do they have any sort of draw whatsoever? Like, it's not just about, is your music good? There's a bazillion artists whose music is good, but can you perform? Are you going to show up on time? Are you going to be the 8:30 performer and bring 60 people with you through the back door? Like, there's all kinds of things that you got to think about whenever it comes to inviting these artists. And with more and more artists applying every year, and then you also got to think about the shows that these artists want to perform on. They want to play on, a show presented by somebody. So they want to be on, the Fader Ford show, or the Mass Appeal show, or the Takeover show, or Rolling Loud show, Lyrical Lemonade. Everybody wants to be on one of these presented shows. The people at South by, me included, aren't making these lineups for these presenters too. So another way to get on is to go to the people who are presenting the shows. And I always tell artists, like, if you've never played South by before, go to the festival, go to all these shows. It's not hard to be able to pick out who's running these shows at them. Like, whenever we're doing the Welcome to the South show or any of the Fix shows, you could easily tell that the 3 of us were the ones that were working those shows. We're running around, we're doing everything to make the show run. Find one of those people whenever they don't look like they're going crazy, and introduce yourself. Build a relationship with them. Don't pitch yourself for the show right then and there, but get their contact information, reach out to them, and build with them. That's the easiest way to get on, is for the person who's presenting these shows and curating these lineups to know you and to know your music and get an invite like that. And then you get on the show that you really want to be on.
I'm glad you said that, because, man, even with just not even about South by, but just with music in general, I think sometimes these up and coming artists think it's just about the music, and it's so more. Yep. It's so much more than just making music. It's how you interact, like your presence online. And I think sometimes they get stuck in just thinking, if I go drop a dope app mixtape and drop a couple videos, I'm gonna get on, and it's not like that.
Yeah,
not at all.
The crazy thing too, I literally just had this conversation with one of the kids that I mentor, and he wants to be a rapper so bad. I said, look, man, you got some rhymes, you dope, but are you gonna have the consistency, to be in the studio all the time? Are you gonna be able to put a small crew together that believe in you and your music just as much as you do? Because you're not gonna be able to do this alone. Then another part of that is, do you have the look? Can you attract the crowd? Can you get fans? Can you do all these things? And is your back office in order? Like, are you gonna have, like you said, 60 people coming with you every show? You don't need that. It look good, but you can't. When you start making money, you want to pay 60 people? Fuck no, I don't want to pay 60 people. I want to pay 4 people or 3 people, or just the main ones. You know what I'm saying? So I always break it down to them and try to tell them like, hey, that's what you need to do. You need to find somebody in your neighborhood to do tracks, somebody who has access to some kind of studio, which they're not going to charge you. And if they are going to charge you, they're going to charge you much. Find you a little video guy, somebody who want to do videos. Like find people who got the same type of common interest that you have, and then y'all come together and y'all grow together, like we used to do with people.
Yep.
We grew with a lot of people, you know, and we did it organically because everybody sitting at the table had a certain interest, and we all built off that person's interest, and we made it, and we did what we did. And that's how we doing the podcast. That's how you at South by. That's how I'm doing sports. That's how Vic's doing his herbs. You know what I mean? There's a lot of shit going on, but it all started with 3 or 4 people getting together and then pulling their contacts together and branching out with other people and seeing like interests and building that up. And people grew together, and, you know, then you grow into something else, you know. But I don't know. I think a lot of these kids, we always do the whole thing with the do you want the money or do you want the fame, right? And we'll go on the dry erase board, draw a line between money and fame. You know, we'll tell them to name off all these things that you think means you got money, right? And all of the stuff that they list is really just fame, which we all know fame is not having money. Right. You know what I'm saying? We know a lot of people who got all these followers, all this other shit, but they ain't got no money. You know what I'm saying? Because we live in this microwave society, right? So how do you think we get them to see differently about that? You know what I mean? Is it just like like an age demographic, or is it more or less, all right, I'm gonna feel like fame is money until I get to be about 25, 26 years old. And at that point, kind of, if your rap career ain't took off, you late. It's like sports. Right. You ain't hitting. If you ain't hitting by the time you 27, it's gonna be tough for you. Like if you ain't been playing in the league,
it's a young man's game for sure.
It's a young man's game. Yeah, 100%. So,
well, I mean, I think it's definitely a generational thing, and especially like, you know, we didn't grow up with social media, and the only thing that people show on social media to people is the good stuff. Nobody posts their L's. Everybody just posts their wins. So these kids are seeing these fake manufactured lives that they think people have, and you know, they don't realize that, you know, the dude with the 9-to-5 with the steady income lives a much less stressful, much more financially stable life than most of the artists that they think are out here just balling out of control and just have all this money and can do anything they want. You know, look how many of these artists end up angry and, you know, speaking out against their record labels and complaining about their contracts, and, you know, they're here for a year and then you barely ever hear from them again. Like, that's not really a life that you want to lead. But whenever you see, you know, everybody with the cars and the money and the jewelry and all these people around them, everybody admiring them, you think that it's, you know, you can just get it with the snap of a fingers. But nobody posts all the troubles of their life. Like, no, people don't want to see that. That doesn't make people feel good to see. So these kids see that and they think, you know, they think they can take the elevator and not the stairs. And if you ever want to be successful and have longevity, you got to walk up those stairs.
Right.
The funny thing is like, I was talking to my son about this the other day because he was talking about, you know, artists and, you know, money and stuff like that. And I just tell him, like, look at right now. Like, COVID-19 hit. Like, it didn't discriminate. It didn't give a fuck if you got money, if you got, you know, ubuku success, or if you broke. It didn't discriminate against nobody. So usually when you're on Instagram, everybody flossing and capping. Now, there's a lot of people you don't even see on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? Like, people that was on Instagram, all of the club popping and all that stuff. And now when reality hit, you know, they don't have stuff to flying off and stuff like that. And they sitting at home and people doing bad, you know, like saying, like Boosie was talking about, like, there's a lot of artists out here going broke because they not doing shows.
Yep. Yeah. When those steady show checks aren't coming in. And then a lot of what I'm noticing too is Now these artists want to start digging into their contracts, and they want to see who's been taking more money and where their money's been going, and why don't they have what they think they should have. And now they're crying because they don't own their masters. And it's like, yo, you signed your name on that dotted line. You know, if that's your signature, nobody made you do it. You had to move your hand like that to write it. And, you know, there's enough warning out there and enough, you know, examples of this shit going bad for people that you can't really feel bad for people that get in fucked up record deals anymore. It's 2020, like that shit should have went to the wayside, you know, 20 years ago. You're out here getting smoked by these labels. That's what the lawyers are for. And if you'd have got your business in order, you really wouldn't have to be out here wondering where your money's at right now.
Yeah. Y'all know my rule of thumb. Get your business in order so you won't have to go back and get it in order when something pop. You know what I mean? Because think about it, man. Like, that's a lot. Because when something pop, all you thinking about is, oh, I'm here now. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. And the money coming in, but you ain't really got it. You ain't really got it going to where it's supposed to go. You know? And you don't even have your business paperwork in order so you can be considered a business. Like, here's the thing, too. Just think about this year, y'all. So you got all these government entities want to give money to small businesses. Okay, so in my line of business, I deal with athletes. You deal with artists, right? You actually manage the artists. So I've always told my guys that you should start you an LLC because you are the business. Like, whoever you are the business. Whatever your name is, or you want to call your business, you could be, just hypothetically, it could be Brandon Ashley LLC. Because you're going to get different breaks than the average Joe Blow person who's just filing their taxes and getting all that money. So you go somewhere and you make $250,000, but you make it under your name, but you the business. You get a whole different demographic than you bringing that money and you putting it up under you as a regular person. And then you look now, a lot of athletes, a lot of entertainers are out of work, right? But they got all this SBA shit out there they can go get, and some of the shit you don't have to pay back. You know, I know a guy who I think he got a grant for $150,000 that he don't have to pay back as long as he used that shit for his business.
Grant is good. A loan, not good.
The grant is where it's
grant
at.
is great.
Yeah. So
people don't pay these grants back, but come next year when they talking about, hey man, you remember that money you got back? We need that back.
Yeah, hell yeah, we need that back.
Yeah, you know, but the thing is, I'm just saying, like, so that's another privilege that they would have if they were a business established as a business, you know. And so a lot of times they don't have a lot of people in their corner to show them that because that shit's boring. It's not a video shoot with a bunch of girls. It's not a liquor. It's not flashing my guns in front of the screen and, you know, having my weed in the video.
I mean, but to also be fair, like, I think that sometimes, like, you don't look at that shit. Like, when you coming from the mud and, like, you've been hustling your whole life, struggling, you in the hood, and you doing music, sometimes you just looking for a way out. And these young guys jump in that shit, and then they'll, oh, you can do this for me, and they'll sign that shit, and then don't think about the aspect part of it. Although
I totally understand that, but man, it's so many examples. Like, what makes you think you're any different than the last guy that got fucked? Like,
that's what I was about to say. Same thing with athletes and how they use their money. Same thing.
We're looking at it from a point of view of how we think, right?
Right.
Everybody don't think the same way we think. Like you talk to some guys right now who they might not even know who NWA was. They don't know who they might not know who UGK or what their contract situation was. So these guys, because like you said, the music industry is getting younger and younger. You know what I'm saying? Although I agree, you should not be getting fucked in this day and age. But some of them, they mind not on it. Half of them, they drunk and on pills and fucked up all the time. They not looking like that.
And the labels want to take advantage of them. They want them high and fucked up and easy to take advantage of. But like John said earlier, before you do any of that shit. Like the thing that always gets me the most, and I watch NBA YoungBoy go through this shit, and he's out here screaming about it. He wants his masters, and he'll give Atlantic Records 4 albums, now for free because he just wants his masters back. But no, he signed away everything on a long record deal whenever he signed his deal with Atlantic. And he was so popping when he signed with Atlantic. Like, if Atlantic's offering him $6 million, what's Sony gonna offer him? They'll probably offer him 8. Like, don't take that first deal. What are you doing? Like, don't take the one that just gives you all the money up front. That's what lawyers are for. Like, if you're offered, you don't have to have one penny to go out and get a lawyer to read over a major label record contract for you, because that lawyer can just tell you, hey man, I'll take, and the lawyer is going to try to fuck you too, but I'll take 5%.
You're a lawyer to read over his, the shit after he read over.
Exactly. But it's like, hey, you don't have to pay me a retainer. You don't have to pay me a penny. I'll read over this contract and make sure this label doesn't fuck you. I'm going to fuck you, but I'm going to make sure that the label doesn't. So all of this stuff is out there for everybody to know. And the thing is, when we were coming up, this information wasn't readily out there. People weren't online speaking out about their record deals because they weren't online speaking out about anything yet. So we didn't know that these artists were that unhappy with their deals and these labels that are doing people dirty like that. Everybody knows that shit now. Like, you have to make sure that you're not the next guy up here crying about your deal.
Right. So
what you think about, I was reading the other day, they were saying that, I don't know if it was Russ and some other guy was talking about if Drake decides to go independent, that's pretty much going to crush the game.
I mean, he's the biggest artist on the planet, and if he goes independent, everybody else is going to want to be independent. And I mean, Russ and Steve Stout definitely know a whole lot more about the record industry than I do, but I mean, it's not, I don't think anything could stop that industry. But, Drake is the type of artist that he doesn't need a record label now. Like, who's not going to spin the new Drake single? What playlist isn't going to put the new Drake single on it? Like, they need him more than he needs them at this point. But there's still, the next Drake still is going to need all that shit. So no, it's not going to stop the industry, in my opinion, but it made for a good headline.
Yeah, no, the industry is just gonna pick up somebody else and put all their chips behind them, and everybody and they might not be as good as Drake, but they're gonna damn sure make it seem like he is by all the shit they're gonna put behind him.
If you hear if you hear the same song enough times, eventually you're gonna be like, oh, shit, I kind of like that. I tried not to, but I like it.
That is true. You said you was talking about the length of contracts, man, and I was just telling Vic the other day how I felt about anything over 3 years, man. I think it's too long in sports and music because a lot of shit changes. You want me to wait a certain amount of time to get this amount of money. It just doesn't work for me like that, because you should have an option to renegotiate based on what's happened, right? Because the labels are going to have an option. The team is going to have an option. The artist needs to have an option. In NBA, they usually give the first option to the team, and then after that comes a player option. And then, if the player picks up his option, the team has the next option next year. So that's kind of cool, but it's not always like that. And so, you said something about NBA YoungBoy signing a long deal. Man, why? Well, I know it sounds good. I know you feel like you're riding with somebody, and everybody wants to feel like they got that crew, that acceptance. But man, why sign that type of deal when you really hot right now?
Yeah, you don't have to.
Yeah, and the other thing you said was about him getting $6 million from Atlantic, and then what do you think Sony's gonna offer him? Like LeBron James did with the whole shoe deal. He sat at the table with Reebok. Reebok offered him 80, 90, whatever the case may be. He pushed that shit back down the table and said, all right, man, if Reebok offered me this, I know fucking Nike gonna offer me something. You know what I'm saying? Nike, Adidas, somebody. And he said right there in that moment, he said, man, I'm finna turn down this and go back to color play from the projects to wherever they was at. I'm finna go back to the projects, have no idea what the fuck I'm finna eat tonight. You know, I'm sure his shit wasn't that bad at that point. He was, you know what I'm saying? People were taking care of him at that point. You
but
can't
that's
make
happened before.
Yeah. He was that guy already. So, but just that train of thought from a young, he had to be what, 18, 19 years old, maybe pushing down 90 million. I just don't get, like, I don't understand why people can't look at that, or look at, like you said, the history of the game and know they got to do better. You know what I'm saying?
People aren't, I mean, everybody ain't savvy like that, man. Everybody's not keeping up with what's going on in the world. But that's a prime example of betting on yourself. It's kind of like Dak. Like, I don't really know what the fuck Dak doing with all these contracts, but apparently he believed in himself, and he believed that he can get a bigger contract next year or somewhere else, or he deserved more money. And I think a lot of people got to start being that way, whether it's in the music industry, shit, at work, on a regular job. Like, bet on yourself and believe that shit. Set your amount that you want and shoot for the stars. And if you get a little bit up under that, then shit, you
still won.
You're low ball.
Yep.
You still won. Boy, that like Master P ain't show him how to do this, man.
The blueprint right there.
You know, like, Master P showed you how to do this, man. They thought this old country dude came in here talking with them goals in his mouth. He ain't gonna say.
Hey, and Master P tried to take Young Boy under his wing and give him the game, and he didn't listen to him.
He did try that.
That's what. See what I'm saying? He'll probably
this
still
is a
take
man who's made 9 figures in the music business, and Young Boy thought he knew better, and now he's upset about his record deal, and he thinks people are gonna have sympathy for him. Hey, not me.
Nah. Hey, Hobbs, who the up and coming artists, man? Who should we be looking at? What have you been hearing or seeing coming through? Because you know me, sometimes I'm you know me, I like what I like. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The crazy part is Hayden been putting me on a lot of shit, like 42 Doug. I ain't even know.
Hold on. Before we get into that, man, why artists today, why they names so fucking long? Like, what happened to Hove?
All got numbers in them now, too.
They got 1,824, baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on?
It's what everybody grew up on. So these kids are all the sons of Chief Keef and those guys, and people are when we were young, everybody wanted to be LA gangsters. That was when the Chronic came out, everybody wanted to be a LA gangster. No matter, I guess maybe not New York, but down here everybody wanted to be a LA gangster because that's what was cool. But these kids, they came up on Chief Keef and all that crazy Chicago shit. And, you got kids all over the country now. That's what they grew up on. Chief Keef to them is like Jay-Z to us.
Yeah.
And now you got, kids, Hayden probably looks at Migos like they're old men.
Yeah.
Like,
hey.
The cycles of things comes and goes so fast now. Like, look how fast Migos was QC's bread and butter. Like, Migos was the hottest group on the planet. Lil Baby's numbers smoke Migos numbers today. Then he jumped them that quick.
Man, it's crazy though. Like, when Lil Baby first came on the scene, I was kind of eh. But like now, like I really fucked with
Lil Baby is an artist.
Yeah.
Like, and the crazy thing is, he's barely been rapping for 3 years. He wasn't rapping. He was just a street dude that would go to the studio to shoot dice and shit.
Yeah.
And Coach and P at QC was like, you look like a rapper, you talk like a rapper, you act like a rapper. We're gonna show you how to rap. And he just had it in him. Like, listen to his voice. Like, everything about him is an artist. Like, he had that in him. He just had to have it pulled out of him.
Yeah, and what really showed it to me was this last song you just dropped about the
the Bigger Picture. That's the best song of the year so far,
bro. That
and to me, that's showing a shift in like what's happening in the world is going to shift music. Nobody wants to listen to music about bullshit right now because nobody's life is partying bullshit right now. Like, everyone's going through, like, everything is real right now. So you got a dude whose entire catalog of music has been about making money, selling dope, partying, all this shit since he first came out, drops a song that deep about what's happening right now, and the numbers went crazy. Yeah. Shows that that's what people want to listen to right now. So, I mean, I think music with substance is definitely on its way back.
Which is crazy because I don't understand why J. Cole or K. Dot ain't dropped nothing right now. Which actually, I just got to.
Cole dropped a new song tonight.
Yeah, I just seen that.
Yeah.
I haven't listened to it yet.
Yeah, Cole dropped a new song tonight. Jetson produced it, so Jetson got that sound right now, and everybody wants to. I think with something like Jetson and J. Cole together is you get fun production with lyrics with substance, kind of, and that's what Lil Baby's new record was. Like, it sounded like oh, this is gonna be some hard trap shit, and then it was about protest and police brutality and systemic racism, and oh shit, this is coming from Lil Baby.
Hey.
I ran that shit back like 100 times when it came out, texting everybody like, yo, have you heard this?
Yeah, that shit was on point. But back to my question though, man. Who upcoming artists we need to be looking out for that's coming through your airwaves?
Man, well, I gotta rap for my boy Doughman first before anything else, or I want to be a good manager. Talking about music with substance coming back, his music is out of control. So if you're not familiar, DOEMAN, Southeast Houston, just real hip hop music, but not boring ass hip hop music. Like he has music with substance, but it sounds like some shit you want to listen to. I mean, I think the next superstar is probably going to be Don Toliver. That's Don Toliver and Jack Harlow would be my number 1 and number 2 picks to like move up into that, like from mid-range to top level superstar within the next year.
The crazy thing, I thought Harlow was G-Eazy for the longest. Like with the car and they'll turn it on, G-Eazy going home.
Yeah.
And then I seen the video, I was like, that ain't G-Eazy.
Nah, yeah.
But
I mean, I think those two are gonna jump up to like superstar level, especially once touring can start again. Like, that's really gonna be what separates people. Like dudes like Lil Baby and the Baby, they're gonna be able to go out and do arena tours now and amphitheater tours and sell that type of tickets after this shit is over. And you're gonna see like a new breed of guys who are doing those tours that Kendrick and Cole and Wiz have been doing for the last 5 years.
Yeah. Hey, I do want to say I do want to back what Hobbs said about Doughman. Like I didn't know a lot about Doughman, but I started listening to his music and his freestyles, and man, that guy right there rap his ass off, and it ain't either. Like everything he's saying is with substance, and it's so dope. Like if you get a chance to listen to Doughman, I definitely vouch for him. That guy can really rap his ass off. Like if you want to talk about lyrics, substance, and music that jam, like he's definitely one of those guys out there that you want to check out.
Absolutely, I appreciate that cosign, because man, it's a hard game out here. But literally everybody who hears him has that same reaction. And I didn't start managing him until he was already earning a living off music. So he did the hard part of building that foundation. And he got real fans and people who his music touches them on a daily basis. And as soon as we can get that on a worldwide level and outside of just the Houston area, he's gonna take off, man. He's gonna be out of here.
Yeah, I can see.
Since you're saying that, so how do you? It's a fine line between when the artist is on that line, right? We know Doughman is good. You know what I mean? We know other artists has been really good and they've been on that line. What do you think? What do you think can put an artist over the line? Is it just somebody that take more interest in him, or is it just more fans, or is it more appearances, or is it just keep hitting them in their face until they?
I think consistency is a big thing, and I mean, the easiest way is just to continue to make great music, and one single can take you all the way out of here at this point.
Right.
Like, you make the right song at the right time that resonates with people, and sometimes it's just the right one person needs to hear this shit, or your song might get heard by somebody and they decide to make a little dance video off of it, and now you're out of here. Like, look, even though he's not a new artist, look what just happened with K-Camp. K-Camp's been quiet, even though the music that he had been releasing was still great. I super fuck with K-Camp, but he had been quiet for years, and one girl decides to take his record and make a TikTok dance for it, and that shit was the most streamed song in the country for a month. Like, you just never know. Like, there's so many different ways to get on right now. You can get on the traditional way with a record label. You can do everything independent. You can, catch lightning in a bottle like that with the right song, and the right thing happens with it. It's just so many different formulas right now to this shit.
That TikTok shit, oh man, like,
out of here. Where every song's breaking.
My 4-year-old gets on YouTube, and all she does is go through these TikToks. And like, I've heard so many songs that I didn't even know about.
Yeah, TikTok shit real.
And you can tell, like, these are what these kids are doing. Like, guys, they're taking these TikTok songs and they're taking 30 seconds of these TikTok songs and coming up with these dances. And you can tell, like, these songs are going off the charts.
And that's TV to them. Like, it's so crazy to me that there's like YouTubers that are incredibly famous and make, so much money for appearances and shit. But to kids, like, that's TV.
Oh, yeah.
That's the computer. Like, it's completely separated because I'm old. But to kids, like, that's TV. That's life. Like, that to us was like, seeing somebody hosting Rap City, or, being on the MTV countdown. Like, that to them is where they discover music at.
Like, my kids don't watch TV. Like, they watch the internet. So like, they'll watch, like, for instance, my daughter, she'll watch it's not reality. It's just somebody with a camera filming these little kids playing at home. And like, she'll watch those TikTok videos on YouTube. Like, there's no more turning on the television. Like, if we didn't have a TV in our house, it'd be perfectly fine. They wouldn't even know. You know what I mean? Because that's what these kids are doing. Like you said, that's their TV now. And artists got to capitalize on that, And I don't even know, the guys.
Oh, yeah.
TikTok?
What's that?
Are they making money off of TikTok?
I don't know TikTok is not paying per stream. Like, there's a battle going on with the publishing companies and the labels against TikTok, because TikTok's not paying artists. But you hear that song enough times, like, that shit is going to translate to money in other ways. But TikTok should absolutely be paying them. But that shit, they're working on a whole different set of rules over in China.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Good luck to get that.
What'd you say, Vic?
Yeah,
I said, good luck trying to get that money from China.
They still I still got 15 grand floating around in China somewhere. Shit, y'all ain't getting
man.
The money is not coming. The money's not coming, man. Unless you hire the Chinese gang to go get that shit. You still might not get your shit.
I got to ask you the last question, man. What do you think them trash ass Spurs gonna do in the bubble?
Man, it's gonna be a rough go in the bubble for the Spurs, man.
It's gonna
time
be
to
a
rebuild, man. I wish my man Pop would just run for president and let somebody else take over coaching duties, because my man's a little stuck in his ways when it comes to basketball. But I think he could handle presidential duties for us pretty well.
Yeah, he's gonna be in there. His press conference gonna be short as shit.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
he ain't giving no soundbite.
Spurs ain't making the playoffs this year, man. But I think the NBA, they wanted the Pelicans in that 8th seed because they want to see the Pelicans versus the Lakers, because that's where the money's at.
Yeah, man. That's crazy. I really didn't like that. I feel like that's the participation trophy. Like,
Oh, they gave Zion a literal alley-oop into the bubble, and they're gonna set it up. They're gonna set up Zion versus Ja Morant to get into the playoffs, and the Pelicans are going to win, and it's going to be Zion versus LeBron in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah,
but I can't wait to see Zion throw a dunk down on Dwight Howard. I can't wait for that.
Hey, you still hate Dwight Howard, man?
Now Dwight Howard's running around in the bubble with no mask on, just being a big weirdo like he's been this whole time.
Hey man, so yeah, the bubble life is crazy, man. They got they got the snitch hotline up in there, man.
I can't wait for the bubble 30 for 30.
Oh, that shit.
They better make it as many episodes as The Last Dance. Like, we need all the details.
Yeah, we need everything from the bubble. Like somebody gotta have a camera crew in the bubble right now, filming all that shit. They said Jimmy Butler up in that motherfucker dribbling his basketball. Cause it's like dorm type shit. It was like Jimmy
somebody was complaining about Jimmy Butler dribbling above him.
Yeah.
Hey, you know that boy Woj is in there with a notepad, like peeking around to every corner, writing shit down.
Hell yeah!
Have all the inside information.
Is Woj even in there? You know he got suspended for talking crazy.
Hey, he's at least got a drone flying around in there. He's probably got some moles in there. He's got.
Hey, if he ain't in there, bro, they got a whole snitch hotline. If he ain't in there, somebody in there on his behalf. But
LeBron's gonna be on that snitch hotline talking about he's seen Kawhi with no mask on. I seen Paul George cough on somebody.
Man, yeah, that bubble life is kind of crazy, man. But you know, one thing I looked at though, I think it's gonna be harder for somebody to win a championship in the bubble versus if it was the regular, you know, go to their home court over here home. Dame Lillard was saying that he said, man, you know, everything feels smaller. Like the court, he said, even though we know the court's the same size, it just feels smaller. So
yeah, I can absolutely imagine that.
Because you know, obviously you got this court in this big ass arena. Now you got this little. It's not as big as a 15,000 people seat arena, obviously, or 18,000, however many they seat. But he was just like, you know, it's gonna be different now because you're gonna have to be careful of where you feel like you're gonna be have to be careful of where you stepping because you feel like you don't have as much room as you have. In reality, you do. Yeah. So it's one other thing. And he was even saying that he felt like it was gonna be harder to win in the bubble, like for teams. Like it's just you don't have the comfort of your own home at any point. You know, you just everybody's on the same playing field, so. I guess
he's not on the same playing field as everybody else, though. The Orlando Magic, and that might be a sleeper bet right there for the Eastern Conference because they didn't have to go through what everybody else went through. This is in their backyard. They're kind of comfortable there. They're not that good. They're probably going to get smoked by the Bucks if they meet them in the Eastern Conference Finals. But I think the Magic, you know, they have somewhat of a home court advantage out there.
Yeah, I think
because it's like. These guys with all this money, you know, all this money and fame, they've been able to move around how they want to their whole life. All of a sudden now you put back in like dorm situations and you sit around the same guys for the next 3 or 4 months. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to be different when you mess up in the game this time than it would.
These dudes are going to be frustrated because they're not going to have their normal life to live off of the court. And I want to hear about some bubble fights. I want to hear about, you know, these two dudes got into it on the court and then they ran into each other at the ice machine in the hallway and threw down in the hotel hallway. Like, it's going to be some crazy shit going on.
Can you imagine if that KG and Melo shit happened in the bubble? Told him his wife tastes like Cheerios or whatever.
You said she tasted like what?
You know what I mean? Like, can you imagine?
Yeah, they're going to have to get your boy – they're going to have to get a bodyguard for your boy Patrick Beverly.
Yeah.
Oh man, Pat Bev finna be aggravated.
Yeah, Pat Bev and Russ are gonna be the ones that throw down. That's gonna be the first off-court bubble fight.
Oh yeah.
Our Rondo running to each other in the hallway.
Oh, Rondo about to be out the bubble, I think.
Yeah, I think he got a cast on his hand or some shit right now.
Yeah, they said he'll be back in like 2 or 3 weeks. I know Pat Bev yesterday.
They gonna let Rondo stay in the bubble that long without doing something?
No, he left. He coming back.
Oh, okay.
They said he'll be ready to play in about 6 weeks.
Damn. Okay.
And Pat left the bubble yesterday or today.
So I didn't see that.
When he coming back?
Damn.
What happened to him?
Said it was a family emergency. Same thing.
Oh yeah, I did see that. I saw the Kawhi left too, but then he came back. But did y'all see the scrimmage today?
That boy Bol was out there balling.
What?
Did y'all see the scrimmage? Denver Nuggets started all they 7-footers or some shit like that against. What was it? They played.
And Bol was running the court. He had a double and had 6 blocks.
Yeah, that's it. But did you see the setup though? Like how?
I just seen like a couple little highlights.
Yeah, so like it's kind of like when they came here to Vegas and they did the G League winter showcase. They turned the hotel's what do you call those things? Conference rooms.
Like the convention center.
Convention centers into like courts. That's what it looks like. So the shit was nice though. Like Dane was talking about how nice. He's like, man, they did a hell of a job with the build out. Like it looked like it's nice, but it just feels small. So that shit's gonna be crazy because I guess that's where they're gonna put, like they did in the TBT. They're gonna put the advertisements in the stands because there won't be any. Apparently, there won't be any people there. But I think each player got to bring like 20 people or 10, 15 people, maybe 20 or something like that.
Damn.
Yeah.
I'm just glad that Bobo balled out, man. I've been rooting for that kid.
Yeah.
I've been rooting.
I bet you can't say Bobo balled out. How many times you say that fast?
And with that, guys, this is another episode of Sports Music and Other Ish. Hobbs, we appreciate you coming on, brother. You got anything to say?
Of course.
Hey man, I got one more question before we end it though.
All right, what's up?
Hey Hobbs. So earlier you said something about guys like Little Baby and them being able to do tours, like arena tours once all this is over. What's the ticket nowadays? You know, because when we was back there, we was getting some pretty player prices, and all of a sudden it went.
Yeah, it's still like that. I mean, dudes get one hit record and they're out of here. And I feel like I remember the moment that happened. It was when Trinidad James All Gold Everything came out, and this dude had one record and was getting 10 bands a show. And after that, it was like that was the new normal, and it's just continued to go up since then. Like it's so crazy the amount of money. Like you can't be an independent promoter and be successful for a long time anymore. Like it's just there's no margin for profit.
They don't have those up and coming guys you can get and then will it into like a little tour or something.
Now where I think things changed was the age of the artists when they pop is getting younger and younger, and the venues don't make no money whenever a bunch of teenagers come to a show. So then they're not relying 100% on tours like artists were for a little while. Like when we were first coming up in this shit, that's how everyone was getting paid because nobody was buying CDs anymore. People were still downloading music. Everyone was getting their shit off live mixtapes and that piff. And that's and man, streaming wasn't paying the bills. Streaming's paying the bills now. People are making money again. So the young artists don't feel the need to get out there and grind out these shows like Kendrick and Cole and Crit and Freddie Gibbs and everybody did when they were first coming up. And now these guys, that adds to their career longevity. And these young dudes now, you can tell from watching their performances, they just don't give a shit about it. They're there to get that bag and then leave. Like
right.
All their boys on stage with them. They're not doing shit. Their DJs rapping their lyrics more than they are. Like, man, I've seen this little Playboy Cardi perform, and I swear to God, he only said like maybe 10% of the lyrics of his music. His DJ was hitting all the ad libs. The crowd was hitting every word. I was like, y'all paid money to watch this dude just get up here and bounce around side to side on the stage. That's it. Like literally, y'all just paid to watch this guy do nothing.
That's crazy.
And hey, y'all remember when we booked 2 Chainz right before he blew up? Y'all remember that? Yeah. Remember he came? Remember
we timed that shit perfectly.
Remember we tried to. His rider said he wanted like 100 chicken wings and shit, and then like probably about 9:30 at night, he said, "Oh, bro, we don't eat no chicken wings anymore. We eat shrimp, steak and lobster, shrimp and lobster."
Yep. Luckily, somebody knew somebody that worked at Papados, and we ended up with a plug. And
J-Boy.
Yeah, boy, yeah, shout out J-Boy. Yeah, so J-Boy had the Papados plug, and we got 2 Chainz and people fed, and they didn't have to eat chicken wings and fries. They got to have steak and shrimp.
J-Boy and 2 Chainz probably best friends to this day. He didn't want to deal with nobody but J-Boy after that shit. He was like,
I remember that J-Boy was on the bus hanging out and everything.
On the bus, he was hanging out. The next day, he was like, "Where you at?" "Oh, I'm still with 2 Chainz." Then he ain't living.
Let me find out he's part of Street Execs now.
Yeah, he got a job and shit. Hey, man, we really got to get together and do the Fixed Chronicles, man.
Man, I'm with it.
Like,
we got some stories.
We got some fucking stories for their ass, man.
Big time.
All right, man. We're gonna wrap. John, you sure you ain't got no more other questions, John?
I could do this all night, man.
But... no. All right, Hobbs, man. You got anything to say to the people, man, before you go?
Man, y'all just keep tuning in to my guys' podcast and telling all your friends to tune in and shit. Just hit play on a loop on Spotify all day and let those numbers run up so they give my guys that Joe Rogan bag over here.
Yeah.
Already.
Bag. All right, John, you got anything, man?
All right.
Nah, Hobbs, man, I appreciate you coming on, man. It's good talking
anytime.
To you always, brother.
Of course.
Hobbs, appreciate you. We'll see y'all later.
Yeah, later, y'all. Yep.
All right.